Are we done yet?
Are, are you done? Are you done? Are you done? Okay, okay.
There's what you call clout trending, and that's not it's not a good thing. It's a good thing, if it's not at the expense of tearing the next person down, but these things have been used to tear the next person down. So there's been an influx of bloggers, and they've been making a bashing and tearing down the next person, particularly it's more, maybe a few more. We have these are brothers, these are young misguided brothers, and what you have to understand about who they are not creators of these conditions. They are just the inheritors of these conditions where they come from. So gangsters, as if they created it themselves. They are just the recipients of their environments. They are not the actual creators of these lifestyles. They are just those that, due to their circumstances, inherited these. So this is one thing we have to understand about this particular way of life. They did not create it. They was not the creators of this lifestyle. They was given this lifestyle due to their circumstances. Now, I've seen a lot of commentary, and these are not things that I've wanted to see, but I have an interest, a very personal interest in what's going on in that arena, in that particular world, because regardless of how people might look at him, look at the people, I look at them as human beings, and you would have to love and accept them as you love and accept yourself. These are teachings that comes along with having a sound mind. A sound mind allows you to know that I have to accept these people as I accept myself. I understand that they did not create that lifestyle. They are victims of that lifestyle. So at no time would anyone with a sound mind be set up to tear the next person down due to their sexual preference, due to their affiliation, gang, fraternity, sorority, or otherwise. We're not there to tear these people down. Those with sound mind can only aid and assist them. Now, this is where free will kicks in. They could accept it or they could reject it. It's up to them. I've made a video addressing Little J a couple of days before Little J was released. I've tried to inform Little J that the people that he was going to be released to are the same people that was eating his flesh, which is kicking your back in, which is a no-no. You can't do, at no time can you kick anybody's back in. This is an Islamic thing. This is a Christian thing. This is a thing that's known, that you cannot kick anybody's back in. This is not. It's not tear the next person down, especially when you're not in their presence, because what you say outside of a person's presence, in the presence of others, have the ability to influence their thought about that person. So I allowed the video to be public. It's right here. It's a message to little J. And the message was to tell him, it's not too late for him to change. It's not too late for him to get out of Chicago and leave. We don't want to see anything bad happen to you, because it's been an ongoing thing where there's an audience of people that cater towards a lot of negativity, especially that's coming out of Chicago. It's been this.
So little J, do not put yourself in the position to get jammed up. Do not. Leave Chicago. Be a part of Chicago's healing process. I know once you have a certain image to live up to, and you gotta understand something. Fame is like a drug. It produces a certain drug inside of the brain, and it's a motivating force behind a lot of things that people do. Whether you're an influencer, IG model, you're a rapper, you're an entertainer, see, the first famous person or the most famous person in the world is God. And to combat that fact, see, everybody knows God in some form or fashion.
There's an orchestration that's taking place, and it's orchestrated by something very, very, very dark, wicked, and it's coming to claim every single person that it can. If you can profit from it, good. But if you will be a victim from it, better. So these are things that we've seen blow up in front of our face. We've seen this. So you have people that genuinely care, like genuinely care about our brothers and sisters in Chicago, our brothers and sisters in throughout the course of the world. Doesn't matter where you at. You could be in China. We still care. We still care about the conditions, that you are faced with when it comes to hardship, and when you're looking and seeking for salvation from what you're confronted with. We identify with you, and we grieve with you. Some of us, we really grieve with you, and this isn't something that you could off, especially when you have a profound love for people. Not to do, when you're doing well off, you're good. It's not we're not here to grieve or to have any kind of strong bond or connection with you. You're well off. But there's some people that's here that are not doing so well. And we grieve with you because we see the situations, we see you're confronted with, and we wish that we can do something to help you, but sometimes we're in a conflict ourselves. I'm in a conflict myself. And please don't think everything is hunky dory with me, because it's not. But I'm able to still smile through it. I'm able to still have a good spirit through it, a good heart through it. It hasn't turned my heart cold. It hasn't made me conform to its ways. So I am able to see things with a sound mind. And this is a superpower in this world. I'm able to see what others can't. That is worth more than anything. That's something that I wouldn't exchange. I wouldn't trade for the world. I wouldn't trade that for anything. And those that do things in the dark don't like that you see things like that. They don't like that you have that ability. So these are the people that I'm actually, at odds with. They're not me, not that I'm at odds with them, but they're at odds with me. Because as opposed to seeing somebody that can do that, that have that ability to see what's actually going on behind the scene and not want to compensate them, not compensate me any kind of way with any kind of currency, but compensate me with having mercy on those people. You can compensate me through mercy. Stated in the Bible, I don't know. I require mercy, not sacrifice. I don't require anything sacrificial. You don't need any kind of sacrifice to appease me. You appease me through being merciful, through mercy. Through mercy, you appease me. It's biblical. If you do not understand that, go find out what that means. Go find out what that means. It's biblical. And when you do find out what that means, you're going to understand a lot more about that. Video, about For Little J. And airs numerous times, you've made an attempt to reach your people, but it's being blocked by something other than not me. It's not me. I'm being fruitful as far as me feeling something on my spirit and releasing it. That's me being obedient to my heart and obedient to whatever it is that God laid on me. If God didn't want me to speak or see things or say nothing about anything, I wouldn't see it. But I see things. Are we done yet?
Are, are you done?
Are we done tearing people down? Because let me explain something to y'all about homosexuality. While it's biblical, that it's not suggested that a man wears what pertaineth to a woman, and nor should a man lie with another man. This is in Leviticus. It's through Deuteronomy. It's through everything that you see in the Old Testament. This is Old Testament. Leviticus is Old Testament. But when Christ came, there's a New Testament. And Christ made no reference to homosexuals at all. So as Christians, you cannot make any kind of reference to homosexual at all. What's required of you is to love your neighbor as you love yourself. Not love your Christian neighbor as you love yourself. Not love your Baptist, not love your Jewish neighbor. Love all of your neighbors as you love yourself. Whether they love you or not, this is what's required of you. So what we understand with one of the videos that was displayed about, King Von or Von, and we don't speak on the dead, we let the dead rest in peace. This is the reason why we say rest in peace. And as we give more energy towards them, we're keeping their spirit alive. Now, what type of spirit are you allowing this person to be remembered as? His story's already written. What you know of him is just basically what you know of him. There's no way for you to dig him up and then put him back on trial again for something else. What you remember him as, that's just what it is. Now, one of the things that you missed that he stated, it wasn't a gang member, it wasn't another GD, it wasn't a BD that was pressing him, but it was a Christian. It was a Christian that he was trying to get away from. And what he stated was that
they supposed to be a Christian, but they got a problem with gay people. How you gonna be Christian?
how can he hate me because of my sexual preference, and he's a Christian. Christians cannot dislike anybody for anything. They have to have a certain level of patience, the virtue patience, when dealing with any and everything. This is first and foremost. Before you can deal with anything, you have to have a level of patience. Your patience is tied in with your humility. Your humility is tied in with your understanding. So you have to have a certain level of patience. You had Christ that was on a cross, crucified. Could you imagine the humility that he had to endure? How patient he had to be with the people, with the mobs, with the same crowd of people, same crowd. Could you imagine what the crowd of people was saying? Those that could have done something still couldn't do anything. And those that probably wanted to do something couldn't do anything because they wouldn't want to seem adverse to the mobs of people that were saying, get rid of him, to do this to him, to do that to him. The mob-like mentality. A mob-like mentality is still prevalent today. What I've seen on this app, this particular app, a mob-like mentality to tear people down. What it means to be gay. To be gay, not that there's anything wrong with that. People's personal preference, sexual preference is nobody's business but their own. This was on an episode of Seinfeld. Back to Seinfeld. That's why this is...
Mom's a piece of junk, goodbye!
Oh, no, now she's heard everything. What are we going to do?
Now she thinks we're gay. Not that there's anything wrong with it.
No, of course not. People's personal sexual preferences are nobody's business but their own.
That's why this is a very important TV show. People's personal sexual preference is nobody's business but their own. This is nothing that defines them as a good person or a bad person. This is just what they like. What they like. There's nothing perfect in this world. There's nothing perfect in this world. If this world was perfect, you wouldn't be given prophets that help you from falling into your own traps that you dig for your own self. If it was perfect. If it was perfect. But this isn't a perfect world. This isn't a perfect world. Cannot be ridiculed, judged, simply because of what they are attracted to sexually. Now, gay, that's when a muscular man, a straight up masculine man is sexually attracted to another masculine man. So this is homosexuality. Matter of fact, I'm going to show you this little clip with Seinfeld where Seinfeld sat down at a table with another man. And another man came. Seinfeld's not gay. The other guy, he's kind of, he's not, but he sat down at the table with the man and they was just sitting there talking. And another guy came up and he said, hey, he knew him from somewhere and he offered him to go out with him. So Seinfeld got offended, like, hold on, bruh. Are you asking him out in front of me? How do you know I'm not with him? I just didn't assume that you were. But, this is two men that's attracted, this homosexuality. Man and man.
Well, looks like it's just you and me, cowboy. How could you love a guy like that? He's a mess. I just don't see them together at all.
Ethan?
Yes?
Hi, it's me, Jesse. George Hamilton's personal assistant.
Right. How are you?
Good to see you.
Yeah, this is Jerry.
Hello. Yeah. Ethan, what brings you to town?
I'm touring with Joseph in the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
You're kidding. Listen, maybe you and I should, get together. Have you been on the slide at Club USA? It's intense.
Excuse me. Are you asking him out?
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Right in front of me? How do you know we're not together? Two guys sitting, laughing, drinking champagne coolies?
No, I just didn't think you were.
Well, we're sitting here together. Why wouldn't you think that?
I don't know, I just didn't.
Well, it's very emasculating.
Now, when you're talking about little J is gay, called gay, that is just he's sinful. He has a sinful nature. That's what that is. Anyone with a sound mind would know that a person is not gay unless you are the same, if you're attracted to the same sex. Those particular people that you saw in the video with little J, they are what you call transgender, which means transfer gendered. They transgender means that you transfer one sex to the next. So this physical male had physically or spiritually and emotionally transferred those ways and actions to those of a female. So he has feminine characteristics and traits and ways, or ways that you carry yourself. And these are things that if a person isn't chaste, if a person isn't chaste enough, they will pursue that lustfully. So this is a sin. This is a sin that little J is plagued by. We all need help. All of us everywhere needs help. His sin is no different than the next sin. The sin of, profiting from another person's misfortune, and that entails greed. This is the Judas factor. Did Judas not profit from Christ's demise? Did he not? And was it greed that was the factor of that? So you can't single out any sin. You can't pick this one out and then leave that one. There's scripture that goes into detail about you can't pick this one out and then attack person on that one. They're all tied to each other. So the sin of, killing, which is biblical as well, thou shalt not kill, which there's been a lot of homicides, and they switched it to thou shalt not murder, which has a little bit more of a deeper meaning than thou shalt not kill. But this is biblical as well. But are they not killing, haphazardly? Are you not glorifying killers? You're glorifying people in gangs that they got multiple bodies, they got multiple homicides, they got multiple this, but you're demonizing the gays. You're demonizing people that you call gay. That is not gay. He knew what he stated. He stated that he likes females. And if somebody come dressed as a female, if a person isn't chaste, they will be attracted to that. In fact, there's a transgender in my inbox, like right now, and you couldn't tell that that's not a female, But the thing about me is, I'm chaste. I haven't had sex in a while, sometimes temptation would pick at me. And, sometimes you might give into it as far as, other means, but as far as physically, no, you have to have a certain level of chaste. This is a spiritual battle. This is a spiritual war. The spirit of lust and the spirit of chaste. How long can you go with being chaste? If you have a lot of ability to refrain from sex, then you're strengthening your ability to overcome the spirit of lust. So some people don't have that. And little J is one of those who appear not to have that. And it's not because that's who he is, it's because that's what he knows. That's what he knows. So, back to Luke 12, verse 48. If a person doesn't know, then they should be punished less than the person who do know. Little J doesn't know these things or what he's up against. He's a product of his environment. He's an insane gangster disciple. I could see if he said he was a sane Christian disciple. He's an insane gangster disciple. Now, if he was a sane disciple of Christ, he should be, severely punished. But he's not. He's proclaiming to be an insane gangster disciple. Not just a regular gangster disciple, not just, a black gangster disciple or a black disciple, not a BD, or not if they even have Satan disciples. But he's not that. He's an insane gangster disciple. So what happens to little J when he maintains his sanity and he gets a sound mind and he starts adhering to the ways of Christ? What happens then? Do we still hold him accountable for actions that he did before he knew that? No. Everything's wiped clean. He has a clean slate. This is what it means to be born again. What you've done before you knew how to have a sound mind is null and void. So what we have to do, we have to stop allowing demons to demonize, because that's the only thing that they can do. Same way a Baptist baptize you and a Christian gives you scriptures of Christ or the teachings of Christ and abide in the spirit of Christ. This is what you're supposed to do. Abide in the spirit of Christ. The demons demonize. They point fingers at you and make you feel guilty for your sins and keep you placed in your sins and make you feel bad for your sins, which it can be wiped clean just like that. Do we understand how that works? Do we? No? Well, we're going to. Recently seen. I've seen something written by T.D. Jakes. And T.D. Jakes was saying that we was emotional. And yes, that is true. Emotional than patient. We are more emotional. We are quick to keep things going. That if we had enough understanding, we would nip in the bud. This is why the Prince song, maybe I'm just like my father, too bold. Bold, when you're bold, you stand alone. You stand alone. Anything bold stands out, meaning that they isolate you, or you're left alone, or you're out of the picture. You, wherever you are, that's the father. The father figure's taken away. But the mother, she's never satisfied. Maybe I'm just like my mother. She's never satisfied. Why do we scream at each other? Why do we get so emotional and we scream at each other? Because we're like our mothers, not like our fathers. But the scripture, the Bible, from the Heavenly Father is meant to keep you like the father, not like the mother. This is why women are God-fearing. This is the reason why you want a God-fearing woman, because they don't fear God. They fear living without God. And what they would want is more men to be like God, to accept the teachings and adhere to the teachings of God, so they can feel more protected, so they can not live without God. The presence of God has to come through the male, because that's what the women desire of you. If you don't understand that, then you should you know, look around. Look around. We're more like the women that's, you know, not the mothers, but we're more like our mothers that don't have any cap on their emotion, that are easily angered, enraged, that's ready to punish you for something. You know, we've been raised by our mothers, so we all have that mother like quality in us. Me, I was raised by my mother and father. You know, my father passed away when I was 15, so I was able to see like a real, you know, man. But 9 times out of the 10, my father's life revolved around, you know, caring and adhering to what it was that my mother wanted. And his existence was making my mother happy. In the beginning, it wasn't so hunky-dory. He was on a certain drug. She didn't want him on that drug. She wanted him to be better. And through time, he became better. He became the man that my mother wanted him to be. You see? And it was, you know, at first he was, you know, Muslim. Then he became Christian. You know, so certain teachings would get you out of that mindset and help you to become men. This is what we have to get into. Not the, you know, look around. Go, you can stop this and look at something else. You could go and just type in Little J and see how many people come up and see all the bad talk, the bad mouthing, everything that comes along with that name in that video. And not only that, but the video is being displayed not for educational purpose, but to stir conflict. To disturb and destroy peace. Remember, the devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy. So you steal your reputation, you know, kill off your character, and destroy your peace. Again, steal and destroy. It steals your reputation, it kills off your character, and it destroys your peace. So this is what these videos are set out to do. They come from law enforcement. At no time should gangsters, quote unquote gangsters, or street dudes, or hood people that's hood educated, accept anything from law enforcement to tear down the next person. You should never do that. These things are, you know, no. At no time should you be able to do that. But yes, this is what's being done. And we see, you know, God sees everything what's going on. So as God sees, please believe that I know, because I'm a child of God. And why would God leave me out here and not seeing anything that's going on? I'm not a child of time. I'm not made by time. I'm a child of God. I'm not a child of greed or money or none of that. I'm not anybody that wants fortune or fame. I want peace. Not for me, not just for me, but for my people. God, for those that are misled. Remember, Christ didn't come here for the righteous. Christ came here for the sinners. Little J is a sinner. He's lustful. He has a lustful nature. He has a wrathful nature. So anybody with a wrathful nature, which is a sin, a lustful nature, which is a sin, a greed nature, which is a sin, these are things that Christ is for. So Christ can save all of you. And somebody that's going to the Bible thump you to death. I'm not going to Bible thump you to death. I'm just going to tell you that I see a lot of things done that's a sound mind is required. A sound mind is required. And we've been here all this time and still haven't acquired one, then point you to is this thing over here, which can help you have a sound mind and see things a little bit different. Because I see things different. And how I know, I just know. Just know. He's not, Little J is not gay. And was gay. Who cares? That doesn't take away from what he actually instilled in you. The idea of him that you already got. That shouldn't shatter that. That shouldn't, oh man, he was gay. I don't feel that way no more about him. No. That was just something that you never knew about him. And for people to defend that, then, you know, you can't. Maybe he really was. But does that make him any less than who he is? Does that make Little J any less than who he is? But a snitch. Butter didn't snitch on FBG. Butter didn't snitch on anybody. He just told what happened. If he got into it with somebody and then snitched, then that's a different story. But even if they do snitch, who cares? Who cares? Start living righteous. Who cares? Nobody can snitch on anybody righteous. Nobody. Righteous, or try to find out what it means to be righteous. And if you do get snitched on, then you've done something wrong. That goes with anybody. Anybody scared of somebody knowing the truth is something that you need to hide. I don't have to hide anything. Anything that y'all know, you know about me, you just know about me. Anything you know about me, you just know about me. You know, there's a lot of, you know, seeing through my phone, seeing through my devices. You know I know. You know I know. People see through my phones. People can see. Matter of fact, I'm going to make a video, you know, and it's going to be for targeted individuals and people that wonder how people know so much stuff about them. And by us doing that, by me showing you this is going to be very, 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 very eye-opening. By me showing you this, you're going to know how they play and who's playing that game. And me, I have no fear. I have no reason to fear nobody. What's going to be is going to be. What's going to be is going to be. And the thing is, if you don't have fear, then they have no leverage over you. Only thing that they can do is what they've been doing for hundreds of thousands of years, which they're scared to grow up out of. So there's nothing new under the sun, and nothing that you can do can be hidden. But yeah, I'm gonna show this video that I have, and it's going to be real. This is going to blow your mind, because you would have never thought this landed in my hand, but it did. And we'll end up, you know, playing the whole thing. But yeah, y'all stop, you know, being used as instruments by the wicked to tear people down. Because no one, I don't care who you are, no one is low. No one is low. We know everything about everybody. So how does that make you feel that there's people or beings that know everything about you that you don't even know about yourself? How does that make y'all feel? You know, because God sees all and know all. Some people see all and know all because there's cameras everywhere, but God sees all and know all. Sees the heart, sees the intention. The intentions are behind these things being released. Only thing I'm asking y'all is to stop playing with my people, or stop playing with people in general. It's not kind. if you know that these people are misguided, victims of their environments, you know that they may be in gangs. They did not create these gangs. If they've killed, if they ever shot somebody, ever been in any kind of gang warfare and stuff like that, they did not create the gang warfare. They are just victims or casualties of their circumstance. So I want to say that regardless what, I love them brothers. I love everybody. I love son. I love unconditional. I love everybody unconditionally. The righteous and the wicked are the same. And you know, we grieve with those that are misguided more than those that are the ones that's guiding the misguided. Because what we have is you're getting people that aren't qualified to give you that type of tutelage. They're not qualified to give you that type of teaching. And yet they are. And they're not only that, but they broadcasting it. They don't have any kind of real molding and shaping wisdom that can help you with your situation or your circumstances. They don't have that. They're not looking to give you that. They're looking to profit off of the next person's misery. Same thing that Judas did when what happened to Jesus happened to Jesus. He profited from that man's misfortune. And it was known. You got to understand, Christ knew. Like he knows spies. Christ knew people that spies. He knows when people were sent to him. He knows what they was thinking. And he answers them accordingly. So, let's not get comfortable with. Now we can talk about it. That's what I'm saying. For my people that makes videos and blogs and stuff like that, you can talk about it and discuss it, but don't do it from a means. Don't do it from a point of view for you to tear the next person down. If you're going, you know that you're going to. You got people watching you, and as soon as you release something, you're going to get paid for it. Don't do it from a perspective of especially if you don't consider yourself a bad person or a negative person. Don't do it from a area of wanting to see, you know, the next person be subject of laughter and stuff like that. Do it from an area of love. You know, you could rip these people from an area of love and hope to give them a different mindset, especially as far as viewing certain things that they just might not know. These are young, misguided brothers. And it's not their fault. The generation before us, they were introduced to crack. The generation before them, they was introduced to heroin. The generation before them, psychedelics. The generation before, it's all a ongoing generational curse that needs to be broke. But if we don't know where to break it at, where do we break it at? Not serving your people on a platter. That's where it starts with. It starts with, you know, changing your mindset. Things that you've learned. It starts with acquiring a sound mind. A sound mind doesn't chase the bag. The bag chases the sound mind. Remember, a sound mind doesn't chase the bag. Because when you chase the bag, when the bag lands on something that you don't want it to land on, you're going to have to land on that as well if you want that bag. So if the bag lands on, doing something to the next person to acquire that bag, like the 30 pieces of silver, then to do to get the I'm yeah, I know. I can't allow myself to be let down the next person at the expense of, being something or somebody that I'm not. You know, all of us don't want to be in the spotlight. All of us don't want fame. All of us don't want fortune. What I have in here is enough for me right now. I don't ever need anything outside of what I already have. Everything I have in here is all I require. I don't need anything outside of this. It would be good to have good companionship, a good friend or a good, a circle. But in these days and age, you have to keep your circle completely small. There's a lot of, backbiting and double crossing and backstabbing and all these things going on. So it's required of the righteous right now at these times to, stay to themselves. So how you see it. So in conclusion, this is not a means to tear down, to abash, to slander, or to capitalize off of the misfortunes of others. This is merely an expression of a concern of leadership in a world that has lost its leadership, where men no longer want to be men or take responsibility for their communities or the youth that's coming up behind them. This is what the purpose of that is. For people with these huge platforms, you see my numbers. I'm not really too in tune with, what's going on as far as the YouTube politics, but I know how the politics work. Same thing with the gatekeepers. Anywhere else there's gatekeepers here. Still a club here, the same way there's a club there. But all of our leaders, you can see them because they have a leadership role. Last video. So who more is given, much is required. So if you're given a huge platform with a huge audience and a lot of viewings, then it's up to you to be the way or the guide for these people, as opposed to you being the guide and teaching them how to do things right. You're just gearing towards energy that they want you to present them with. If you don't, then they may stop viewing you. But you have to gear towards your audience. Your audience has a bloodlust, so you feed them that bloodlust, as opposed to you feeding them something else. But yeah, this is what the purpose of that video. This video is for that. If you have a platform and you have a sound mind, or you think that you have a sound mind, and you're in a position to help, because I see gang members, speaking on certain issues and, giving their input on certain issues. Gang members, whether you're a young gang member or you're an old gang member, the older you are, the more you should be trying to guide the youth into a more positive direction, but you're not. You're gearing towards, you know what you're gearing towards. We know what you're gearing towards. But all of our leaders are followers. They're not put in any kind of position for them to lead. They're followers. If this one says the same thing and he sees it and then makes another video and says the same exact thing, and then he sees it and he makes another video saying the same thing, they're just following trends for clout. The clout trending. This crazy mixed up world, this dog eat dog world, homosexuality is at the bottom of the list or either non-existent as one of the problems plaguing our existence. Homosexuality is at the bottom, or very least at the bottom. It's not the one. It's not what's causing the chaos and destruction. The one or the thing that's causing chaos and destruction is our mental functioning, the way that we function mentally. We have a mental disorder collectively, because these ideas are shared collectively. We have a mental disability, and that's what's plaguing humanity. If you don't understand this crazy, mixed up world, this dog-eat-dog world, we call it a dog-eat-dog world, which is insane because we have never seen a dog eat another dog. We have never seen a cat eat another cat. We're the only people that do that. The most intelligent species on this planet is the only one that eat and feed off of each other. And by feeding and eating off each other, it's taking this one down in order for me to come up. This is the dog-eat-dog world that we're speaking about. And this is what's the problem of humanity. Our mental state is not healthy. We don't have a healthy mind state. Look at our leaders. Look at our world leaders. Look at Kim Jong-un in North Korea. He's making bombs and nuclear weaponry and talking about making weapons to kill hundreds of millions of people. This is insanity. Look at Vladimir Putin. He could just wake up in the morning and just say, I'm going to bomb Ukraine, and continue to bomb them and continue to bomb them and continue to bomb them. Then, we got to observe this Orthodox Christian holiday and get somber. And then as soon as that's over with, go back to bombing and bombing and bombing and bombing. This is insanity. This is insanity. It's insanity for your government, the United States, to have homeless people, to have people living on the streets, people downtrodden, and to give hundreds of millions and trillions of dollars to fund or help assist another country that doesn't have anything to do with over here. That's insanity. So it's the mindset. It's the mindset. It's the mindset that's the problem. Not homosexuality. Y'all know that. I know that. Because I have a sound mind. No, it's not homosexuality. You're just finding somebody to pick on. You just need somebody to pick on. Because you learned that from your fathers. Not your fathers, but your father. Not the father, but you learned that from your father, who's a liar and a thief and a murderer. So I need somebody to pick on.
I know he a liar. Have you ever seen a crackhead? That's eternal fire. Why you got these kids' minds thinking that they evil? Why the preacher being flicky? You say honor God's people. Should we cry when the Pope die? My request, we should cry if they cry when we bury Malcolm X. Mama, tell me, am I wrong? Is God just another cop waiting to beat my ass if I don't go pop? Memories of a past time, giving up cash to the leaders, knowing damn well they ain't gonna feed us. In my brain, how can you explain time as BC? It's hard enough to live now in these times of grief. They say Jesus is a kind man, but you should understand times in this crime land. My third nation, do what you gotta do, but know you gotta change. Try to find a way to make it out the game. I leave this and hope God can see my heart is pure. Is heaven just another door? I leave this here. I leave this and hope God see my heart is pure. Is heaven just another door? And my people say,
enough of them are still in the name of the Lord. Them are tell no fly, but all them are putting a cloud. Using the name of the Lord in vain, while the people in the ghetto them feel no pain. Enough of them are still in the name of the Lord. Them are tell no fly, but all them are putting a cloud. Using the name of the Lord in vain, while the people in the ghetto feel no pain. Enough of them are still in the name of the Lord. Them are tell no fly, but all them are burning the cloud. Using the name of the Lord in vain, while the people in the ghetto feel no pain. Enough of them are still in the name of the Lord. Them